From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we have breaking news from Bernie Sanders as the deal's happening, but it has not yet happened. What does that mean? It's deliciousness. Then, told ya, block the road, we won. The roads and bridges did not get called for a vote last night. What happened? I have the latest rundown. Price is right, 1.75, but now there's indication the recon could go higher. Programs in, programs out, the latest update as more programs are slated to go in. You thought it's a finish line? It's not. The great details from Bernie Sanders as more programs are slated to be added to this recon in the next few days. Then student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven across the board, and then that COLA raise coming up as well. I have all those incredible details in a big early mornings broadcast. But the breaking news from Bernie Sanders is that while you may have thought the recon is done, it's not. They're adding stuff in there. Wow, incredible great news. The President of the United States minutes ago, meantime, just met the Pope in Vatican City. The Pope said to Joe Biden, he says, "Do you want me to forgive anyone?" He said, "Yes, the person who gave Nancy that horrible hairstyle." And then the Pope said, "You know, there's evil among us everywhere, Mr. President." He says, "I know, I work with Mitch every single day." It's a big, beautiful Mornings LA. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the cappuccino is steaming in Vatican City, and it's a big early mornings broadcast, but the bacon's missing. And this starts Mornings LA, starting right now. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day of trick-or-treating. Well, here we go. The trick and the treat is that the deal is not finished. More items could be added to the recon, and Bernie Sanders confirms that minutes ago. Then, told you so. Block the road worked. Purple Power won overnight. Roads and bridges did not get called for a vote, but what's coming up next with the roads and bridges? And the recon, I have the latest details. The price is right, 1.75, but it could go higher. What went on? Then, the latest details on programs in, programs out, and more are coming back in. And what could be added? It's deliciousness. Student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debt is next? And then we go over the incredible details of that fifth stimulus. Boy, it is COLA. And guess what? We're having another round of items coming right behind that. If this stimulus becomes law, we got a big early mornings broadcast and it starts right now. And this is LA, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Noontime LA. And jump in the live chat right now if you think Sirloin should join us on Noontime, live on air at 11 a.m. I'll see your comments during the commercial break. Then, coming up later is Big Afternoons LA at 1 o'clock, the 3 o'clock, and the Evenings LA at 5. But certainly at 10 a.m., minutes after this recording, is the live show of Mornings Crypto. It's a biggie. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. The most comprehensive coverage of the subject matter in America. 140 million viewers in a year and a half. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into this recon that is still very fluid even this morning. A recon will pay you upwards of about $15,000 when it becomes law. This recon is incredible. It is called the Build Back Better American Plan, and there's a lot of programs in there. In total, when you look across the recon, the average payout to viewers of this channel will be about $15,000. There is money in there for single individuals, money for seniors, money for workers, money for people who have children, don't have children, on benefits, not on benefits, on SSI and SSDI, not on benefits. And then money across the board. It's covered across 3 classes of checks with 3 add-ons, some of which survived. I have the latest details on what survived, what didn't. First, the broad overview, and then stay to the second half of this video. In the second half of this video, I go over each of the programs with the amount, The coverage, the duration, and the eligibility, it's incredible. Let's go over the details starting right now. Cluster number 1, hazard pay and the $4,000 of elder care. Confirmed, hazard pay survived. That is the earned income tax credit. Broaden the eligibility for 1 more year for those essential workers. You got it in there. Elder care survived. That is up to $4,000 a year or a little bit less, and then money for young children's care. Then the Pell's grant survived, broadened it $550 approximately per year, and now made tax-free, and then grants the university and to the college student. The home repairs, if you live in a low-income community, survived. Yes, this is great news across the board. Free money for those home repairs in a low-income community. Then the CTC, the child tax credit, survived for 1 year, $3,600 or $3,000, depending on the age of the child if you're a low-income household. And then finally, the money for the bikes, cars, and trucks, which was a pre-Trump law. It goes almost back to Obama. Extended for another 10 years. It's 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike, U.S. auto manufactured. $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, U.S. auto manufactured. Personal use, a little bit more for business use. There we go. That is the first of 3 clusters. Let's go over the first of 3 add-ons. The first of 3 add-ons is the $25,000 from Maxine Waters for the purchase price of your first home. It did not survive this format at $25,000, but may have slid in under the housing, because guess what? Everything else on housing survived. Great news. Rent, mortgage assistance, this is for stimulus. Home repairs for what we just covered, and the next cluster has more home repairs in there as well. Home repairs for weatherizing your home survived. Let's go over the second cluster and see which items survived and which did not. Paid family leave and medical leave out at the moment. Again, this is where we are right now, not the final finish line. The household tax credit, child care programs believed in there. The pre-kindergarten survived. Community college did not survive. And then the weatherizing your home, yeah, it survived. Not winterizing. That's totally different. This is weatherizing. As I always say, always weatherize. Always weatherize your home. Especially if Kristen Sinema comes knocking on the door looking for a campaign donation. There we go. That is the second cluster of checks. Here comes the second add-on. It survived. It was a President Biden campaign promise, and it was a baby of Senator Bob Casey from Pennsylvania. It survived. It's $250 billion for home health care. Did not survive at this price point, but did survive. This is for people who are seniors or people on disability. You will get free home health care covered by the federal insurance program. Incredible. In the second half of this video, I go over all the details, who gets it, how it works, which program, and everything. It's coming up later in this video. Stay to the very end. Okay, here we go. Third cluster, we got those money in there as well. Let's go over the details. Free school meals for all. It survived. Confirmed, it survived. Cheaper prescription medication. Out. Then the money for farmers. I don't think it survived. The free internet. I don't know. It may be under the housing. The clean energy, of course, out. The independent contractors, I don't know. And then the lowering the eligibility age for Medicare, the expansion of Medicare, the dental, vision, hearing. Let me give you the details of that on camera, because that is a lot to go over. First, the expansion of Medicare across all 50 states won. It survived because of Raphael Warnock and Jim Claiborne. Joe Manchin had an issue about expanding it to Republican states, having them get it for free, but not paying for it. They figured out a provision to make the Republican states pay for it. Then the expansion of dental, vision, and hearing did not survive. Hearing got in there, not dental and vision. And then the lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55 or 60. Don't know. I don't think it survived, but I really don't know. It's a very fluid situation. Let's go to that third add-on, and that third add-on is MSC, and we have big updates about that right today as well. That IRS monthly stimulus check is a third add-on. And for the first time in today's recording, you're going to see that House and Senate members both believe that the recon should start on the Senate side, not the House side, meaning the vote should start on the Senate side. This is huge because guess what? It's the senators who want to give you an MSC more than even the House members. Casey, Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer have all said they want to give you one. And yesterday, I believe it was the 1 o'clock afternoon show, Donnie was in the live chat and said he had called Schumer Liz Warren, and I believe one other. I don't think it was Bernie. And they all said they're still on board to insert a monthly IRS stimulus check on the Senate side. What's also new, you're going to see in this recording, and I have a lot of this in the second half of this video, is Bernie saying it's a good bill, but it needs to be made better. Question, Senator Sanders, are you adding stuff in there? Absolutely, I'm still adding stuff in there. Yes! This is huge because everyone's adding stuff in there. The add-on is not only coming from Bernie Sanders, 2 other people saying they're adding stuff in there. More could be saying it by the end of today. This is incredible. Let's read that incredible statement of advocacy and what it means for us, because we got to push. Here we go. This is from the chief of staff to the #1 senator for the equation. Says we now have a total between congressional senatorial offices received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories. Now they have a better understanding of what Americans are going through. They have heartbreaking stories in the LA viewers, and they have the voice of the people across the nation in you, LA, as you have become too loud, LA, to be ignored. Then the last sentence, let's read it on air together. It's huge, and it's very important, especially for today. The last sentence says, please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people you have become, LA, until this becomes law. Very, very kind. What does this mean? We need to advocate because we are not at the finish line. Bernie and 2 other people detailed in the second half of this video say, we're still adding stuff in there. You may think it looked like a done deal yesterday. It wasn't done. The president's press conference, the announcement, the legislation going into a subcommittee, not a done deal. In fact, they're adding stuff in there, and they can still add this in as well. In the second half of this video, you're going to hear all this brand new news. It's brand new on Mornings LA. It's huge. It's great. We're going to be going over deal or no deal. The answer is no deal. The deal is not finished. And the #1 guy of the equation, Bernie Sanders, explained, it's a good bill. I'm adding more stuff in there. Wow. Then we're going to go over the process. Yesterday, a big win for the Purple Power as Block the Road worked. The roads and bridges not called for a vote. So when will the recon be called for a vote? Where will it be called for a vote? And in what order? This is brand new, and it's starting right now on Mornings. Then the price is right, 1.75, but it's not locked in. It still could go a little bit higher. It's not going less. And then the big exciting details of programs in, programs out, the latest rundown and the latest indications of which ones are on the battleground to go back in. And then student loan debt, mortgage debt could be forgiven. The big money for Colo raise, we got those details and more, plus my commentary, which viewers say they are loving. I'll be giving you an insight about my commentary about what's going on and what I think will happen next. It's big, it's bold, it's coming up in the second half of this Morning's LA. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right from Santa Monica live on air as a deal is happening but has not happen. This is why your advocacy is so important. Jennifer's in the live chat right now, and she's asking the question you want to ask. Have you made phone calls today? Who have you called among those senators? I have the latest details from Bernie Sanders. It's huge. It's great news. It's coming up in just a second. LA told you so. The roads and bridges blocked. Did not get called for a vote last night. So when will it, or will it? Price is right, 1.75, but we could be going higher. We're not going lower. That's confirmed. Programs in, programs out. The latest rundown on which ones are in and which ones are out at the time of this recording, because more items are going back in. Student loan debt. Wow, more debt could be forgiven. The president offering an additional $10,000. I'll go over you who is going on next. And then the big money for COLA. Those details and more. We got a big morning's broadcast, and I'm really excited for you. So with that, subscribe. A 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record, and 140 million views in a year and a half. I want you part of this incredible family with the most in-depth coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week about your recon. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. The link is under the video to get that newsletter Monday through Friday about the big money under third stimulus. Meantime, if you want to see Sirloin at noontime today, jump in the live chat and say yes sirloin or no sirloin. Let's turn to the breaking news that is huge, starting right now from Bernie Sanders. That big breaking news is Bernie Sanders telling press in the halls of the Senate that it's a good bill, but it needs to be made better. Question, are you adding stuff still in there? Absolutely. Wow. So here you go. This is exciting news. You're not going to see this in print press. It was a video that you have to actually transcribe, which I did for you to tell you what he said. Number one, he covers a lot in this interview. So let's go over the first thing. He first says, do we have 50 senators supporting the recon? Question mark. He basically says we don't know, and that is why we have to have those 50 senators vote in the Senate on the recon. More about that in a second. Next, he says it's the best bill since the 1960s, but it has some major gaps. Let's say that again, major gaps. He's not mincing his words. American people are still sick and tired of paying higher prescription medication. There is no language in there dealing with higher prescription medication. I'm glad of the expansion to cover hearing care and hearing aids, but the American people want their teeth fixed and want eyeglasses. Number three, before the vote happens in this House, there needs to be explicit legislative language. And second of all, that we need to make this good bill even better. Good bill, even better. So the reporter asked, do you support what it is right now? He says, I'm not going to answer that. Why? He's being respectful to the president. He's not trash talking the recon. He's saying it's a great bill because it is a great bill. It is the best bill since the 1960s. But he says, I want to make it better. It's the bill back better. I want to make it better. He says, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm going to do my best to make a good bill better. So I cannot answer that. Then a great question, perhaps the best question a reporter has asked in the last 24 hours. Senator Sanders, are you going to be adding provisions to that bill? He says, of course I am. Yes, of course. Wow, there you go. Deal happening? Yes, future tense. Deal happened? No. The President of the United States may have confused you yesterday by having a press conference, by having Nancy Pelosi, as you saw in the live chat of Evenings LA last night, sending a draft of the recon language bill, potential bill, to a subcommittee. But that is not a done deal. Why? Because people are still making changes and adding things in there. And Bernie's not the only person. I'll have more about this in a second. Let's go back to Bernie's comment. Yes, I am adding things in there. For example, also paid medical and family leave. It's out of there. That's not good. That's bad. I'm glad hearing aid is in there, but we need dental, we need vision, we need prescription medication. It's inconceivable that every year senators talk about dealing with higher prescription medication and we don't take care of it year after year. Then, when asked about the vote, this is where it gets interesting. He says members of the House will have to have assurances. Since day one, both of the bills have been linked. This is the recon and the roads and bridges. We don't want to see the infrastructure voted on in the House until you have a vote in the Senate of all 60 members on the recon. Hold up. Okay, let's walk it back. That's a lot in one sentence. You're hearing this for the first time on Mornings LATE right now. LA told you so. Let me explain to you what happened yesterday before we get to the substance of this quote. Yesterday, Nancy Pelosi attempted to try to call the vote on the roads and bridges. In the month of September, she actually teed it up, saying it's coming up in an hour, 2 hours from now. It was a very bad optics for her, very bad imagery, because the progressives blocked it. Over the last 3 days, I had told you, Pramila and Pelosi having meetings, and Pramila said, no, the agreement was you're not calling the vote on the roads and bridges until there's an agreement on the recon. She said there's an agreement on the recon. Pelosi said there is an agreement on the recon. She said, no, an actual vote on the recon. Pelosi said there wasn't an agreement. Says Pramila says, I don't care. You don't listen to me. We will block the roads and bridges on the House. So this is brand new what's happening right now. Brand new breaking news on Mornings LA. The House Democrats will block a vote on the roads and bridges in the House until the senators vote on the recon in the Senate. This is totally new, and I know that sounds very complicated. The House members will block the roads and bridges from going for a vote in the House until after the senators first vote and approve the recon. So this is huge. Everyone's now saying among the progressives is saying, you must first call the vote on the recon, not in the House, but the Senate first, before we do anything with the roads and bridges. So let's go back to Bernie's quote. Bernie's repeating that. He's saying, we do not want to see an infrastructure vote in the House until we have all the senators vote yes in favor of the recon. There you go. Wow, breaking news. I want to see the language improved in the recon. We're doing this bill. It's not been done in many years. It needs to be fully functional. Wow. There you go. We have similar comments like that coming from Murugan Lejo, Democrat of Arizona, which is we need to have more than a public announcement that they're in favor of the recon. What's at issue is that appearing on CBS as Joe Manchin, I agree to the recon. No one is taking that to the bank. Or Kristen Sinema running a marathon. Yeah, I agree to it. What was she agreeing to? I don't know. Chase her down. No one knows. They want to actually have a vote, not a verbal appearance on a talk show that says they agree to it. Pramila says, we told everyone before that you were not going to call the vote on the roads and bridges. The speaker wanted to call the vote on the roads and bridges. Pramila said overnight. The president said he wants us to pass. Okay, here's more breaking news on when things go first. Pramila said the president says he wants us to pass both bodies of legislation this coming week, and it was critical for that. We will, as House members, deliver both of these bills to the president from the House next week. Wow. A little bit confusing and a little bit contradictory, but Pramila saying the recon and the roads and bridges both being passed in the House next week. A little confusing and contradictory because it cannot be passed in the House first, the recon, because everyone just said they're doing it in the Senate first. But you're going to see in a second of this video that Bernie Sanders' comments that the recon is not finished, that we're still adding things in there, is not just Bernie Sanders. You're going to see two other people from different spectrums of the Democrats who are both moderates and also conservative Democrats who say we have other provisions to add in there. Yes, this is incredible, great news. The president's dealing with dropping poll ratings, and the Simon Rosenberg says, the president has been a very patient negotiator, but he needs to finish this over the finish line. All right, let's go over to programs in and programs out. We're going to get this in several parts of this recording. I'm going to go over the first part now, and I got another part right after it. Here is the latest rundown on some of the provisions. Pre-kindergarten, which is for 3 to 4 year olds, now free for 1 year. This is 6 million of children. Then the child tax credit, 1 year if you make $60,000 or less per year. The CTC extended for 1 year. Excuse me, the earned income tax credit for my hazard pay workers extended for 1 year as well. The home health care got in there. The free home health care for people on disabilities or for people who are seniors will now be covered by Medicaid. Medicaid will now cover home health care services for seniors and workers with disabilities and will end any wait lists that were already an issue and will improve the situation for caregivers' jobs as well. We do not know how many years of this program, but that got in there. Then hearing got in there. Hearing services will be covered under Medicare. Now, what I want to make very clear on this recording is that a couple things. One, some of these things, when I hear a word or a term, I try to source it and verify it in 2 or 3 sources. So, for example, one broadcast media said that the pre-kindergarten was in 6 years. It was untrue because I checked somewhere else, and it was 3 years. I checked somewhere else. 2 other places was 1 year. So there is some confusion. You're hearing confusion everywhere where people are misstating things. Number 2, when I say something that I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. I'm not good on Medicare and Medicaid. So I'm relying upon some of the language that says it's in Medicare and somewhere else that says it's Medicaid. That may be, there may be some inconsistencies there as well. Number 3, again, when I say something is out, it doesn't mean it's out permanently. It's out at the time of this recording, that legislators are still trying to put it back in there. So the Medicare hearing services will now be covered by Medicare. So if you have Medicare, your hearing aids will now be free. Then the middle class home repairs or low income home repairs got in there. This is expanding affordable housing. This includes construction, rehab, and improving more than 1 million affordable homes. And the Pell Grant increased by $550, free school meals for children, as well as an additional $65 per month for food for children purchased during the summer. So I guess when they're not in school. And there you go. Now, let's go to some of the other provisions that are fascinating across the board. We know that the hazard pay got in there. We know that the pre-kindergarten got in there. But what got watered down? Let me go over some of the details of that starting right now. Actually, let me go to Bernie's quote. I want to go to Bernie's quote because Bernie's quote is indicative of the situation where we are right now. Bernie had a quote in the last 24 hours that about the prescription medication, about the dental, vision, and hearing, which is right on point with where we are right now. And I'm going to explain why something in this equation doesn't make sense. All right, so Bernie said 24 hours ago the following comment. This is not today. This was yesterday. That the number one thing on most people's mind is that they're being ripped off by pharmaceutical companies, that they have to pay 10% more for prescription medication in this United States than in other countries around the globe. And that Big Pharma currently has 15 paid lobbyists in D.C. They're all in Kristen Sinema's minivan. We need to have real Medicare medical negotiations to lower prescription medication. Okay, so let me explain this situation. This makes no sense. Get ready to get totally baffled by this one. On Wednesday on this channel, the status of the prescription medication was the following. It was in there, lower prescription medication for Medicare Plan B, which is people with diabetes medication like insulin. It was in there for Medicare Plan B. Wednesday night, the president reached out to Sinema to expand it to other parts of Medicare and Medicaid and other private medication, to expand it across the board. President made the phone call. And after months of opposition for Kristen Sinema to expand lower prescription medication, Sinema agreed. It was perhaps the biggest achievement of the entire recon negotiations by the president. The article, the coverage of this got buried. Why? Because by Thursday morning, less than 8 hours later, when we woke up, it was gone. What was gone? Everything. Not only was the agreement from Kristen Sinema no longer relevant, the lower prescription medication for Medicare Plan B, gone. Everything for Medicare, prescription medication, gone. Who removed it? I don't know. Not the president. He made the call. He tried to get it expanded. Not Bernie. Not Kristen Sinema. She agreed to the expansion. Not Joe Manchin. So I don't know where things are being removed and who is physically removing them. It's not particularly clear. And that would be a question that I would have asked Bernie if I was one of the reporters. Who removed it between Wednesday and Thursday morning? Number 2, Bernie says that we're the wealthiest country in the globe, and that people still cannot afford to have teeth. They cannot have hearing aids. They cannot see. We must have serious expansion of Medicare to include dental, vision, and hearing. All right, let me explain that one. This one is very peculiar as well. Early in the week, the problem with this was, 1, if you're expanded into other states, you were having Republican states offering it for free to their citizens, but not paying for it. So then Warnock and Claiborne did great work on figuring out a writing of a legislation so that every state would pay their fair share. Done, solved. Then came the dental, vision, and hearing. The dental is the most expensive. And we were told that the president said, it's very expensive. I can't do it a lifetime. Let's do it 3 years. So the president wanted to do 3 years. Nancy said she wanted to do it, but implementing it, if it became law today, would be a delay of 5 to 6 years. So she had offered vouchers, $800 a year, which I said was not enough. So $800 a year vouchers for dental or 3 years of dental, that's where we were. And then suddenly, poof, it's gone. Who removed it? Not very, very clear who removed it. Equally, more unclear was who removed the vision. Now, dental is very expensive. Hearing aid, less expensive. But vision is the cheapest of the three. And vision is very, very inexpensive to add to the recon. Vision can be as simple as a eye exam once a year, $65, and some eyeglasses, $100, $150, and you're done. That's not a very big expenditure for people on Medicare to be added for the recon for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So it's unclear why it was removed or how it was removed because it is such a cheap provision. It's not an expensive provision. Very, very baffling. All right, so here we go then to the great news, which is deal done? No. Bernie saying, I am trying to make this better recon, and I'm going to be adding in dental. I'm going to be adding in vision. I'm going to be adding in other provisions like cheaper prescription medication. He says other provisions need to be added, and other people need to add those, like paid leave, medical leave, and that is why our MSC is still in flux. Also, he's not alone. Nancy Pelosi yesterday said, I'm still going to try to get paid leave in there. Paid leave, paid family leave, medical leave. What is this? We're the only country in the planet where if your wife is pregnant and you want to stay home to see the birth of your son, you can't get a check for that. You have to take time off for work and not get paid. We're the only country in the world that does that. That's what paid family leave is. Paid medical leave is your son broke his leg. You need to stay off from work to take care of your son. There's nothing for that in the country at the moment. It was originally going to be bigger, and Nancy wanted it bigger. So where is it right now, and what happened to it? Let me go over the details of it right now. So Nancy wanted it originally at 12 weeks for everyone of all income level, including self-employed and gig workers. Then they got it down to 4 weeks for low income only. Why did it come out? Joe Manchin said he was against it, but because it was too expensive. Well, do it for 3 weeks and do it for everyone that is low income, like self-employed. There's a lot of self-employed Uber, Lyft drivers that don't make a lot of money who are low income. They make $30,000 a year. They should be able to see the birth of their son or daughter and not take off from work. And Nancy says still fine to put it in there. Second, who also talked about adding things in there? Nancy. Yesterday she said, guess what? I hear a lot of people asking for the legislative intent or the legislative text of what the recon would be. A draft of the bill, which has an HR, it's a draft, was sent to the Rules Committee of the House last night. You saw it in the live chat of Evenings LA. It happened after the taping of Evenings LA, but before the show aired. So I was in the live chat. I said, it's now in a subcommittee. Great news. Me and Nancy's fast-tracking the recon. But it came with other comments from Nancy, which says, I'm also sending it over to the House and the Senate for them to make changes if they want to add stuff in there. Yes. Who's the third person to say he wants to add something in there? That person is second. So let's go over some more of the provisions. Here we go. I told you there's a lot on this recording. Stay with me. Recording is still a lot coming up. Tax credit. They wanted it for 15 years. It will now be 1 year. The CTC, if you make $60,000 or less per year. Community college, out. Pell's Grant, in, and more money. Then the prescription medication, just baffling. The child care, in, but not as bold as it was supposed to be, less weeks. Clean energy, out. Health insurance. Wow, great news on this one. Viewer sent me a very nice message on Instagram, private message, saying, make sure they get that in there. My medication, my insurance lapse, I can't afford it. They got it in there less number of weeks. Housing aid, yes, they got it in there. 175 billion, huge, huge. Third stimulus was $48 billion. This is going to be 175 billion. It will not only be rent, mortgage, and utility assistance as they represent, but those other items like those repairs. Then in-home health care, yes, for seniors and people on disability through Medicare. It'll now be covered, Medicaid, if I'm getting it right. It'll now be covered for about 100 to $250 billion. Who else says other provisions are going in there? Gothenheimer, yeah. So here we have a very, very conservative Democrat from New Jersey saying his provision is going in there. We're not done yet either. What's his provision? The cap being lifted on state and local tax deductions across the board. He's in New Jersey, and this is a big thing for the large states like New Jersey, New York, and California, because there's currently a cap on those deductions. He wants to lift it. It's called the SALT. He says it's still going in there. So there you go. So very, very fascinating case across the board. With that, let's go into student loan debt. Student loan debt. More debt could be forgiven across the board, and this is huge. The president is offering an additional $10,000 of student loan debt, and that is on top of the 3 rounds that has already been forgiven. Coming up later in this video, I'll be going over my commentary on where this recon is going. But the student loan debt will go by executive order. The president forgave student loan debt for individuals who became disabled after graduation. Then, the president forgave student loan debts for individuals who went to work in the nonprofit sector for 10 years after graduation. Forgiven. And then the president forgave student loan debts for people who went into the public sector for 10 years after graduation. This is your city, your county, your state, hall, and your federal employees. All your student loan debts forgiven. But that last $10,000, the Democrats should take it and run. They don't have to close the door. Just take that for now. COLA, get ready, because fifth stimulus is right around the corner. I could make 3 hours of recordings today about the new breaking news on Wall Street today about inflation, but I don't want to put you to sleep. Inflation is not going to be temporary. It's not going to be transitory. It's going to stay with us for a few more months. And inflation will likely be to 1 to 3% next December. This is why you want fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus comes right behind COLA. What's going on? Your benefits are going to go up next year 5 to 6% if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits. But not stopping there, because if fifth stimulus comes right behind it, you'll get 2 more lifts. The first lift is a one-time lift across the board for fifth stimulus. The second one is a new lift every December based upon the new benchmark, inflation. And inflation is going to be 1 to 3%, so you'll have a third step up next year. They're going to move the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win. Finally, if you haven't become a member, please do. The membership link is under the video. Tonight, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the membership newsletter comes out to viewers from me. It features all the big money on the first, second, and third stimulus you can get, and boy, it's still paying out. An average of about $40,000 a viewer. I'll be coming back into the third stimulus coverage in the next few days as fourth stimulus slows down. But that money is available for you. The newsletter features the money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and the nonprofits, all 5 of them, the money from Treasury, the help for homeless people in the shelters, the help for SNAP, money for food, small appliances like furnaces, and more. Those details covered in the newsletter to viewers Monday through Friday. Consider becoming a member. The link is under the video. And become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power Casino VIP. That newsletter comes out from the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is also totally free. That is also in the description at news.lalate.com/alerts. Meantime, in the last 24 hours, people saying, I'm loving your commentary. Very, very helpful and wraps it up. I like it too. So here is the return of my commentary, which is really less commentary, but sort of organizing everything back together so you understand it. Nancy Pelosi learned her lesson yesterday. She learned her lesson potentially the month before, where she attempted to really shove roads and bridges down people's throat in September, and it fell apart. Yesterday, if you missed it in the live chat on Evenings LA, she never called the vote on the roads and bridges yesterday. She basically had a war of words about this with Pramila in private over the earlier days of this week. But Pramila said, I have enough votes, I'm blocking it. So, roads and bridges not called for a vote. What am I looking at right now? I'm looking at a series of things. One, I'm looking at the negotiations. The House and Senators are no longer in session. That does not mean they're out of town. They're not in session. They go back into session on Monday. But they're working on the language of the recon even today and all weekend long, and the negotiations. They're in the halls of the Senate, in the halls of the House, working on adding things to this recon. This is why advocacy is very important. Coons, Casey, Warren, Schumer, Sanders, all those Democrats who represent they were going to give you an IRS monthly stimulus check, all those senators who represent they were going to give you these other items in this recon, you need to advocate with them. What have we seen amongst them in the last few days? We've seen Bob Casey being great and saying it's a difficult process. Things are in and then they're out, they're in and out. Absolutely great comment. Liz Warren saying, I want to see things big and bold. Bernie saying it's good, but I'm going to add stuff more in there. Then on the other side, we see Chris Coons really like a pom-pom cheerleader yesterday, just puffery and just sort of vague references, not even understanding what the recon is and not answering questions. When Victor Bockwell on CNN asked him about timelines and dates and items, he couldn't answer the question. It was just all puffery. So that was very interesting across the board. What I'm looking at right now is this process and also the substance. We have the senators really focus on substance, like Bernie, the provisions that need to be in there. The House members talking a lot about procedure. I would like Pramila, I would like AOC, I would like Omar to talk a little bit more about substance. What am I concerned about? In the last 24 hours, I've seen Pramila and AOC and Omar talk a lot about who goes for a vote first, where does it go for a vote, which is very important. And I know it was a very big issue yesterday. It's not an issue anymore today because the roads and bridges were blocked. But I didn't hear them talk about the substance. Are they content with where it is? Do they want to add stuff? Or were they just trying to make it sound like, yeah, I thank you, Mr. President, for giving us what we got, but we're going to still try to do different things. Omar just earlier this week say it's problematic to take out these other items. You need to keep them in there. So what is the status on them? I don't know. Sometimes this is the detriment of a bad news reporter not asking the question. They haven't asked Pramila, do you want to add more stuff in there? Great question with that Senate question to Sanders. Do you want to add more stuff in there? A very blunt question. Answer, oh, of course I am. So that is where the situation is very, very fluid. I love that we have progressives in Bernie, moderates in Nancy, very conservatives in Gothenheimer, all saying I'm adding stuff to this recon. We're not done. What really happened here? What really happened here was a president who was going overseas for an international trip that is falling in the poll ratings, wanted to make himself look good and not look bad. And Pelosi had a right point. She said, don't embarrass the president by making yesterday look like a bloodbath. It wasn't a bloodbath. It came off looking sort of good, murky, unclear to good. It didn't come off looking wonderful. That's absolutely the case. It didn't come off looking bad. So he got what he wanted. But negotiations are messy, and negotiations are not done. That's great news for us. When I hear the comment from Pramila, that's the only thing that makes no sense. It's contradictory and it's unclear, where she says, I'm going to deliver this for a vote in the House next week. But in the same breath, she says, we need the senators to vote first. So not particularly clear. Maybe she's misstating herself. I like the idea of having the senators vote first. You know, I've always said I like the House voting first because the vote-a-rama will go last. But that doesn't preclude the vote-a-rama from happening. It's those senators who always wanted to fix things across the board. And you really want to ensure that Sinema and Manchin do agree to the recon. You have this 1.75 as a murky number. It's not an etched in stone number. It can go to 178. It can go to 18. It can go to 16. It's a murky number. It is not an etched in stone number. So that's great news as well. The situation is very fluid and expected to change throughout the day. I have a big show today at 3 o'clock afternoons, huge, and then Evenings LA will be the latest show. That Evenings LA will show us where the latest comments are coming in from Pelosi, Pramila, because a lot of these legislators sort of called it a day early yesterday at about 4 o'clock my time, which is 7 o'clock their time, called a day. And so there will likely be a lot more quotes about the situation going into this evening. And with that, coming up next is Morning's Crypto, brand new show, and it's live on air in about 2 minutes right after this video. And then we're back at noontime. If you think Sir Loin should join us at noontime, jump in the live chat and say if you think yes, he should or not. And then we're into the 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock shows. Tonight's shows at 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11:30 are all about Force Stimulus, so you don't want to miss them. Same programs, just different month. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want your father's incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power Cow, VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next on Morning Script.